Government Code. Mr. Jenkins, would you like to lead us in the pledges this evening?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On one Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
We'll now take time for a moment of silence. Okay, moving forward, first thing I'd like to do is introduce everybody out there to this gentleman sitting to my right. This is Mr. Bill Lewis. He is our new interim superintendent. And the board, we would like to welcome you as a member of our team of 8. And we really appreciate you being here. We're going to put you on the hot seat and have you give us some superintendent announcements.
All right, thank you. Welcome everyone to tonight's board meeting. Always great to talk about the good things happening in Seguin ISD. First of all, we have our Lady Matador softball team, who is in the playoffs for the 3rd straight year. Congratulations to Coach Garcia and his players. They play this Thursday at Austin High, and then on Friday night they host Austin High. Both game times are at 7 p.m. And then there's possibility of a Saturday game, and that is to be determined. There's a send-off on Thursday at 4:15 at Goldie, who you can join us as we send off the softball team on Thursday. Congratulations to our high school FFA dairy team, who placed first in the area competition and has advanced on to state. Very proud of those future farmers of America. I had the pleasure of seeing Skylar Lofton, a member of our Lady Matador softball team, and a high school senior, receive a scholarship at the annual GVEC Awards Luncheon in Gonzales. And congratulations to her and her family on that great accomplishment. Our girls track team had a lot of success at the area meet. Mary Lee was first in high jump. Emily Rodriguez was 5th in triple jump. Jada Jackson was 2nd in shot and 4th in discus. And Iona Lavallee was 3rd in discus. Our boys track, Kyle Taylor, Javon Clemens, Johnny Blamo, and Jason Williams placed 3rd in the area in the 4x200 relay. Our fine arts are always excelling here in Seguin ISD, and congratulations to our Seguin High School Chamber Choir on winning 1st place in the vocal division and a $2,000 prize at the 3rd annual Margaret Toman Fame Awards on April 9th. The prize money will go directly to the Seguin High School choral program. The Junior League of San Antonio sponsors this prestigious fine arts event open to all San Antonio area high schools. Next week we have we continue STAR testing next week. Yay. May 1st, May through the 5th, we have Algebra 1, U.S. History, and Biology. On May 8th, our 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 7th graders will take math. On the 9th, our 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 7th graders will take reading. On the 10th, science in grades 5 and 8. And on May 11th, we have social studies in 8th grade. Also had a great time today at the Special Olympics over at the TLU field. Lots of hugs and high fives and smiles for that great event that occurred today over at TLU. I want to thank TLU Athletic Director Bill Miller for their hosting of our event. And it was a very special day, and I was glad to be a part of that. On our next meeting, we'll have updates on our DI team as they're going on. Many of those teams are going on to global, so we'll have more updates on those young folks. And I also want to wish our staff and students the best next week as they continue to work hard and do great things here at Seguin ISD.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the update. Some wonderful things going on, and we have a month to go, 5 more weeks to go, I guess, till the end of the school year. So I expect to hear even more things at the board meeting in May. Moving on to our reports and information items, we're going to start off with campus recognition presentations. Mr. Hoffman.
Good evening, board members, Interim Superintendent Lewis. Tonight,
Good evening, board members, Interim Superintendent Lewis. Tonight, we have Seguin High School as our featured campus. And I'm going to get out of the way so our principal, Hector Esquivel, can come up and talk about some of the great things going on at Seguin High School.
Madam President, Mr. Lewis, Board of Trustees, it's an honor to be here tonight to present some pretty fabulous kids. As I like to say, it's a great day to be a Matador. So this evening we're going to be presenting some of the successes, just a little bit. We've had a lot here this evening. I'm going to let them explain what they've been doing for us, because they're the ones that are out there doing it. We're just the ones behind cheering them on. So we'll go ahead and start, first of all, with our BPA. Can we please come up here? Business Professionals of America.
My name is Emily Weber. Hi, my name is Madeline Coleman. Just kidding. My name is Brianna Miranda.
Ruben Hernandez.
There are members of VPA who are advancing to, I guess we should call it nationals, or so they're going to be advancing us in May. We're very proud of them. I know they're excited about getting on that plane and representing Seguin High School. Before we go, I want to make sure that we acknowledge the sponsors. Ms. Weber, where are you? Somewhere over there. Diana Weber, Ms. Pumphrey. I know that Ms. Booth is right over there. So let's give them a hand. They're always with these kids. So VPA, thank you guys. We also want to present here UIL state qualifier. We have a qualifier in UIL in poetry. I don't know if Ms. Jamie McDaniel is here. She's right over there, so I'll let her come over here.
Hi, I'm Jamie McDaniel. Unfortunately, my debate coach, Miss Brookshire, couldn't make it today.
She will be advancing to state to compete in a couple of weeks.
May 22nd?
May 22nd to the 23rd, so let's give her a hand. We're very proud of her. Coming up next are people that really get after it in that weight room, are powerlifting state medalists. I'll have Coach Lanford come up here with Brandon Palomares and Carla, Anguiano.
I'm Brandon Palomares.
And I'm Carla Anguiano.
Well, first off, it was a super awesome season this year to get to coach these guys. Carla was kind of like the dark horse of the season. She just continued to get better and better every week, and we went to the regional meet, and she was able to qualify, and then we got to the state meet, and then people were like, man, who's this girl? And she ended up finishing 5th. So we're super proud of her for doing that. She did, and she PR'd on everything. So it was good to see that when it was time to shine, she performed at her best. And Brandon, he's well known throughout the state of powerlifting, and he in his weight class is extremely competitive. He looks small, but these guys are very, very, very strong. So he battled tough, and he finished 5th. So hopefully next year, majority of those guys that beat him were seniors. So he'll be the one to beat next year. So we're extremely proud of these guys. So go ahead and give them a hand for it.
And of course, we have our Star Stepper dance team. Will you guys come up here? They brought their trophies and everything, so come on, guys.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm Jessica Garcia.
And I'm Marissa.
We got Texas State Championship for our kick routine. And for novelty. And we got a sportsmanship award because we were really nice.
And we also got the Academic Champion Award.
And an overall team GPA of 3.9.
Am I missing anybody, guys? Anybody else? Okay, we have a special treat for you guys today. The past week, our MacCast, which is our local high school video editing team, has been producing a video for you guys. To my knowledge, they were the first students ever to see the new high school. So we're going to be presenting that today. It's a little something called Seguin High School Transformation Starts Here. So I'm going to let, I don't know what I'll let Bree, come over here. One of our producers.
Good evening. My name is Brianna Miranda. I am one of the producers for MacCast, our broadcasting class in journalism. So last week, me and two of my fellow staffers had the opportunity to tour the new high school. My teacher, Ms. Pumphrey, brought a camera with her and filmed the whole entire thing. So today we will be showing you a short clip of the video that we put together. The longer clip that we're gonna go ahead and put that tomorrow on YouTube under our channel for MacCast. So that's the longer version. So this is just the short version. So if you guys are ready,
Brianna, we're doing the long version.
Okay, great, yeah. So yeah. Oh my God. So if you guys are ready, we will like to show you what we put together.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
All right, Tony.
What's up, Matadors? This is Isaiah Ramirez.
And Brianna Miranda.
And Lilia, and we're here to tour
The new Seguin High School.
Follow us. Oh, you literally follow. Okay. I thought she was going to stop
Hello everybody, I'm Mr. Esquivel, the principal of Seguin High School. What we're going to do this morning is we're going to take a tour of the campus. Where we're standing right now, we will call Matador Main. It'll be the main entrance to the school where our visitors can come in to the campus. Okay, to your right will be our student services department. It's where all the offices for our administrators, some administrators, our nurses, our counselors will be housed. Again, this will be student services. So kids, student services.
The first thing is this place is really huge. Like, you have tons of room. Like the classrooms, you have a lot more room in. Just a lot more open rooms to walk in. So like, you just have a lot of room to do anything.
This is our new auditorium center. I think that's it. Oh, it looks large. Just like TLU.
So this is the Matador Commons. This is where we're going to eat lunch next year. It's really big, so we have like a lot of space to eat inside. And I think there's going to be like an outdoor section too where you can eat.
So whenever you're in the Commons, this is what we're talking about. We're doing your lunchtime.
Lunchtime is nice.
All that good stuff. So that's how big it is.
Yeah, it's huge.
Right now we're going to go into the library or the learning and innovation space. So I guess.
Basically, it's a space for students to learn and basically be innovative through technology. So we're really excited about this space. A little bit bigger than the current library.
Yeah, I love it.
Down here is the Delta House, and this is where the journalism and CTE teachers will be.
So we're about to enter the Mat House. This is where all our athletic facilities will be. So athletics, cheer, dance, anything that has to do with athletics will be in here. And PE.
I really like it. It got me so excited, and the fact that I'm not going to be here to, be around in school anymore because I'm graduating, it makes me excited for the underclassmen and stuff. The hallways are really wide, and there's just a lot of open space to do anything, pretty much.
So Seguin ISD wanted to keep some tradition in the new school, so we decided to take out a piece from the Tom Crump tour. and put it in one of the new gyms so that we can still have a little piece of We are now entering the cheer and dance facility.
This is the LGI, or the large group instruction room. There's going to be classes of up to 50 students and teachers. Oh, shoot.
So we're coming up to the third level. This is going to be the Alpha House for all the 11th and 12th graders. This is where we'll have all our classes.
This area right here, although you can't tell right now, will be an open classroom with a projector, and then we also have hookups for the kids to charge, hopefully, their electronic devices on the back wall. So this will be an open classroom where instruction will be happening, every day in the open.
It has a lot of college feel because the classrooms are like really big, like a college would be. It looks like you can fit about like 100 students in each class, and I don't know, just everything about this looks really professional. And
It's going to be a really good experience for everybody, and it's like a new environment, and it's going to be a little uncomfortable at first, but I think everybody's going to get used to it, and it's just going to be a good time.
so this is where the science labs will be. Come on in. Ooh.
I guess the thing I'm most excited about is just the new feel of the high school. We've been used to the old high school and how that's been. Coming into this, it's really, really modern, really new. Like Bree said, it has that college feel. So just having a new environment to learn in is going to be really exciting because, like Bree brought out, it's really a college feel. So you get used to all those things that it's going to be like in college, right here at high school, and it's a really good learning environment. Okay. Well, that's it for our tour of the new Seguin High School. This has been Isaiah Ramirez.
And Brianna Miranda.
And Lily Leal.
And as always,
It's a great day to be a matador.
Yeah, that
I hope you guys enjoyed this. I do want to thank Ms. Pumphrey right over there for leading these talented group of kids. I want to tell you, give her a hand, because there was no practice. We just showed up and we started filming, and it came out pretty good, I think. So they're very talented. I do want to say our kids have really sacrificed a lot for 2 years, and I think when they go into that building, it's going to be something surreal. And I think right now we have kids eating in like 3 different spots, congestions in the hallways, but it's all going to be worth it, and I can't wait to see those kids walk into that building, in the fall, in August, and see what they have for Seguin High School. One of those students said, they wouldn't admit it, but said, "This is for us, it is for y'all." So we're very happy, very excited, and we're very, really appreciative that you guys allowed us the time to present this today. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much. Any comments, Mr. Holt?
Yeah, by the way, Brianna, you were the topic of conversation at the construction meeting the next Wednesday after y'all filmed, because the foreman said he thought he was going to get in trouble with you because you were upset about the fact that you're graduating and not going to get to partake in it. But you can come back. He did say you're welcome to come back. The 3 that did get to see it did get to see what Bartley Kaler is putting together for us, and we're giving a large facility. Each and every time that Ben and I serve on the construction committee, and each and every time we take a tour of it, every 2 weeks, and it's amazing what they're doing, what they're putting together for you. The students that are going to be able to enjoy this are going to have to buy new shoes though, because they're going to do a lot of walking. It takes us about 2 hours to do our walkthrough every Wednesday when we go through there. It's just that large of a facility. But I commend Mr. Escobar for putting together the Alpha Delta collegiate style naming of the areas. The library, which is now the learning and innovation space. I'm still trying to learn that one. The list. And of course, you saw the Commons, which is the new cafeteria, which is estimated to hold around 930 people or so. So there will not be any more congestion in your cafeteria. So you sophomores and juniors that are here this evening that are going to be attending there, you're going to have a great place to eat. You got 6 lines with it, and cafeteria food service personnel. I've already been trying to figure out what type of lines they're going to have, and from what I understand so far, there's going to be an Asian line, a home cooking line, a Subway sandwich line, a salad line. There's all kinds of things going in there, so get ready. So you're going to enjoy it. And then the also you saw the SHS on the wall from Tom Crump Jump Floor. Bartley Kaler pulled that out for us out of Tom Crump and mounted that, and they donated that. And I do want the public to know that if you do see any Bartley Kaler people, to commend them on actually stepping up and donating all the work to put that up there and mount that. That's a very heavy piece of flooring in there, and it was a big concern on whether or not we were going to be able to mount it on that wall. It's that heavy, even though it's all concrete. But there should be a plaque that will get made and put under there to tell where it comes from and everything. But there's also 2 other items that are going to be going into the new high school that are from the history of Seguin, and those will be revealed later. But I commend Mr. Escobar, Bartley Kaler, and I look forward to seeing the looks on the faces of the new students when they walk in there on the first day.
Any other comments? Questions? I want to thank all the students and Mr. Esquivel for coming out this evening. Those of you who have excelled at state and national level in academics and athletics and extracurricular all across the board. So Mr. Esquivel, I think you're right. It is a great day to be a Matador. It is a great day to be a Matador. So thanks to all of you for coming in. All right, well, they're making their way towards the door. We'll go ahead and move on to 2C, which is the adopted amendment to the Texas Code Assessment Subchapter CC, Commissioner's Rules concerning implementation of the Academics Content Areas Testing Program. Dr. Gerardo, what a mouthful.
Yes, indeed. Good evening, board members, interim superintendent. Glad to be here this evening and to just share with you what has been just shared and coming down from the commissioner. And you will see that there's a lot of just numbers and charts. So the state of Texas Education Agency provides rules, and then it is up to each district to then interpret, implement, and then make the connection to teaching and learning at any district. So this was released by the commissioner, and again, you see that there's tables, and you see grade levels, you see content areas, and you see what is called scale scores, and you see labels. And to provide that to an administrator, to a teacher, to a parent, would be just, so what do we do with this information? So part of the task that I have is to get that kind of policy and information that comes from the state, pretty much every district, and interpret that and make the connection to what it means, again, to teaching and learning. And also this information was given recently to our principals as they were preparing to receive the scores for grade 5 and grade 8. So if we can go ahead and start, and there's a PowerPoint. So just to kind of put a little bit into perspective, I'm going to just go through a few slides and just try to put that again into what it means in instruction. So again, this were proposed commissioner rules. They go through a period of public comment, and now they are been adopted as the final rule. If we go on to the next slide, I will guide you on this and what it means. So basically, the adopted amendment does two things. First, it eliminates the phase-in of the Level 2 performance standard on STAR, and formally establishes 4 performance categories for STAR assessment beginning this spring. So basically it says that the commissioner has made the ruling that the passing score as we had it in 2015-2016 remains, and now there's 4 categories of performance. So when a student receives their scores, it would be any of those 4 categories, and that became effective this past April the 16th, again prior to the release of the scores. Now, in past years, the phase-in, as per commissioner rules, was to stay in place up until the school year of 2021-2022. So this ruling is very significant because it has now said this is the standard. From now on, we will not go in and increase it every year at a certain pace. So again, quite significant when you look at instruction and what level the students will be required to meet. As we go to the next one, and we'll go to the first performance level. And on this one, we're going to do just a comparison. So now we have approaches grade level. What does that mean? That again, it is being kept at the 15-16 level. So when you see a student and it says that they're approaching on their performance, that's what it means. They're passing at the same required level as the year before. When you go to meets grade level, that is the level 2 final, as it was called before. The master grade level, that is what was called level 3, and that was the advanced performance. So let's see a little bit of what also that does not mean grade level means. What does that mean? Basically, again, the student did not pass. The student is unlikely to succeed in the next grade or course without significant ongoing academic intervention. So there in itself, it already has the plan or the wording to the plan of what must occur with that student as far as planning, materials, teacher training, and support for that student. So it's already telling us the student is unlikely to succeed on the next grade level. And students in this category do not demonstrate a sufficient understanding of the assessed knowledge and skills. Basically, everything that was taught, the student did not get a grasp on that, on what was taught that year. If we go on to the next slide, this time we're going to the approaches grade level. So what does approaches grade level? To a teacher, what does that mean? To a parent, what does that mean? To a principal? Well, it means that at this level, the student has met the assessment requirements for the purpose of the Student Success Initiative promotion. So if I'm an approaches and I'm a 5th grader, then I can be promoted on to 6th grade if I did that in reading and math. And also for graduation. But this is the approaches equals to minimum passing standards. What does that mean for instruction? That a student achieving approaches grade level is likely to succeed in the next grade or course with targeted intervention. So it's saying, yes, the student passed, but minimally passed. The teacher, the campus, the curriculum, the supplies that we have, the materials have to then be able to support that student going into grade 3, grade 4 rather, or grade 7, 8, is going to need that targeted academic intervention. So what does that mean? Generally demonstrates the ability to apply the assessed knowledge and skills only in familiar context. So that's what approaches grade level means. We go on to the next slide. Now we go to the meets grade level. What does that mean? Well, that the student at this level, they perform at a high their likelihood of success in the next grade level course, so they're likely to succeed. However, they may still need some short-term targeted academic intervention. So I passed, but I am likely to need some short-term targeted interventions going in. So what does that look on the student? Well, the student is able to think critically, and they're able to apply the assessed knowledge and skills only again in familiar context, something that they're used to every day on materials. In this level, the student who achieves this grade level, for example, in STAR Algebra 2 and English 3, they're sufficiently prepared for post-secondary success. You know, when they go to college and they have some remedial courses, most likely the student that is on MEET's grade level sufficiently prepared to take regular courses at this point. So that's what the MEET's grade level means. So now we go to the master's grade level. What does that mean? Well, that the student in this grade and the next grade level, of course, they're going to need little or no academic intervention. They're ready. They are able to think critically, and they're able to apply the assessed knowledge and skills in varied contexts, whether it be a familiar or unfamiliar. The students, again, if they take Algebra 2, English 3, they are well prepared for post-secondary success. That's what those levels mean, is they're now defined by the ruling of the commissioner. Again, the students that are a master's grade level on Algebra 2 or English 3, most likely they will not have to take any remedial courses when they go to college. Thus, if they have a scholarship, then they're going to be able to use that money towards courses that are indeed for a degree, and not use some of that scholarship money for remedial courses. That's for a student, that's where that would be, and as a district, any district, this is where we want our students to be, if that is the route to go. Okay, so what does this mean for teaching and learning? What does this mean to a parent? So I get, my child's scores, and it says approaches. But your child passed, okay? But what is that? What is that term? Even today, there were a couple of questions on teachers. It's like, well, they're looking at Eduphoria, which is where we keep our scores. And they were saying, what does that? All those things mean? Okay, because I remember they changed. Just happened. And again, that's why it was so important that principals receive this information. So let me walk you through this form. And this is something that, again, getting all those numbers that you saw and getting all that wording that the commissioner adopted, this is the interpretation on how to do it on a single page without having to look at all those scale scores. So you see there, because now we're looking at the implication for instruction, teaching and learning. That's what we're about. So what do we do with all this information? It's like, yes, there's accountability ratings. Yes, there is, this index and this and so forth. But for the child, for that student that we see every single day, what does it mean for that and for that teacher that has to support their success? Okay, so again, you see the label, does not meet grade level. So there it is, did not pass. Approaches grade level, it's passing minimally. So that's the color yellow. It's like, yes, they passed, but just barely. And remember, they're going to need what? They're going to need to have that targeted intervention because they just did it minimally. Okay, so if I'm a teacher, I'm a principal, school district, how many students do we have who are at the approaching level? Because we have to plan our district improvement plan, our campus improvement plan, the supplies as we're putting together the budget. What does that mean? How are we going to then put that together? We have to understand this at the simplest level without having to be so complicated on any kind of indexes and domains and everything else that the state of Texas gives us just to grade us. So then we go to the MEET's grade level. Green, passing. Okay? So I'm passing, but what does the teacher need to know? That they may still need some short-term targeted intervention. Can the teacher then start at grade level? Depending on what class I have, right? What is the makeup of my class? Then we go to the master's grade level. That's where you say, yes, the student will succeed. Excuse me. So, to put it a little bit simpler, if you think of a scale from 0 to 3, 3 being the highest, 0, the red, not passing. So, you can say that any student, any particular student, on a scale from 0 to 3, you want to be a 3. Right? Although the approaches grade level is passing. But again, scale from 0 to 3, we want to be a 3 for every one of those students. So again, that's where the connection comes about, so what do we do now? How do we plan for next year? There's got to be a continuum on the alignment of the purchases that we make, the professional development that we offer, the scope and sequence, our curriculum, how do we develop that? How do we scaffold so that a teacher can have one document and be able to provide for the approaches, for the meets, and for the masters. Elementary through high school. And build that foundation. So that's what all that wording that the commissioner gave us, that's what it means to teaching and learning. Another item with this is that we also have to have very critical ways of scheduling. Would you not think so, that we would need scheduling when we're doing master schedule? When the elementary is putting together their classes, middle school putting together their classes, and what's going to be offered and how that class is going to be put together as far as the student makeup. Because we have English language learners held to the same standard. We have special education students who are held to the same standard, unless they're taking an alternative assessment, and that is for the most cognitively needed student. We have dyslexic children. We have gifted children. We have also, as far as economic disadvantage, different experiences. So, putting together on a scale from 0 to 3, where are our students and how are we going to put this together? Because as we see the student at the center, curriculum and instruction supports, facility support, transportation supports, food services support, finances definitely supports, the facilities on how that's kept. Because we're here to support that child so that we have those that master at that. So, again, now one thing that started to do some training with the principals as I was requested to go to their campus, and it was by request. And at that time, there were not 4, there were 3. It's kind of changed. And it's kind of said, it's like, you have to make sure that students always move to the right. So, if I am just about getting to that, I'm in the red, but I'm about to get to that little yellow arrow, you gotta move me. You gotta move me to the right. Because within those squares, you have a whole sequence of where they fall. Not all of them fall on the edge, which would be the easiest, because then you can just move them to the right. Always the intent, the goal should be that you move them to the right. Whatever growth you're gonna make, you gotta keep moving them to the right, because you wanna get to that master's. So, again, that's what we have. Tomorrow we're meeting with the principals, and we'll go and just review just slightly again on how to put this together in the simplest form so that the work gets started with everything that we have. Now, in the months to come, we're going to have then the accountability system, because then that's a different connection that you have to make, because that is the rules by how we're graded as a district. So this is at the heart of what we do. And understanding it from what the state gives us is key. So when I see that high school, the building is indeed gorgeous. The vision of the community of Seguin to have that passed, but also the individuals who put together the program, the educational programs. They're going to be housed in that building because we want them to be at the 3s. So that's also a lot of work that was done, because now is how do we get this and implement the grade programs at the high school. So again, in future months, I will be bringing you on how this is going to be connected to the accountability. Okay? I don't know if there's any questions.
I do want to thank you. At first glance, this was pretty overwhelming to look at it, but you did state it very clearly, concisely. You put it in simple terms, so I appreciate that a lot. And there's a lot of work to be done, that's for sure. So
here to continue to support. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to D, we have our annual staffing report from Dot Whitman.
Good evening. I know you were emailed a copy, but I don't know if you brought your copy, so just to follow along, we have copies for you. There's a lot of information, like I told Mr. Amador and Ms. Jimenez, we will go through it in complete detail. This is a report that we put together annually in accordance with DAA Local, one of our policies in regards to our hiring practices. It also goes along with, at the end of this school year in May, we'll meet with our Diversity Council to share the information. Mr. Flores is part of the representative for the board on that committee, and it's a information item that will be shared with them as well. So what is the purpose of this report? It's basically a breakdown to ensure that we are monitoring and observing our hiring practices. It's listed in policy as an affirmative action type policy, and what it does, it makes you really as a district look at the breakdown of your kids and your staff, and to help ensure that you're trying to at least have a pattern of staffing, that we bring in folks that can mirror what our kids look like, so we can build relationships, relate to kids, educate kids. But again, there's no quotas stated with the state level. They just want to make sure that we hire on fair practices and not based on any type of other areas such as gender or race or anything like that. It is not a quota based, as I said, but it's just it's a practice that helps us reflect on what we're doing to increase minority hires across the board. So if you look at your page 3, you should have numbers at the bottom. This is what your report entails, and it just basically breaks down every department in the district and every campus. So you could say, what does Ball Elementary or Early Childhood look like? And you can see at a glance what it looks like. What does the business department look like? You can see at a glance what it looks like as far as the breakdown. On page 4, that's our campus summary report. And I think there was a recommendation from one of the board members to post some information on our web to share with the community. Some of the detailed information behind the scenes we would not post because it's identifiable, and we want to keep that information confidential. However, we could talk about the summaries and what we see, and we do a 3-year comparison every year to see how we're growing or improving in those minority hires. So as you can see on page 4, the campus summary report, and we're talking the areas of African American and Hispanic hires. So in the professional arena, from 2014 to now, that's our 3-year comparison. We've shown we had no increases at four campuses. 4 campuses showed a small decrease, and for Hispanics, we have 4 campuses that showed a positive increase. So That's all just a bunch of words. When we get to the last sheet, it will kind of give you an at a glance on what it looks like, and it's an easier read. But this is just a summary of what we do. We have an action plan. This past principals meeting, we're hitting our hiring season, so it's a reminder for our principals to make sure they're aware of DAA local, make sure they're aware of what the committee breakdown should look like, what your applicant pool should look like, if possible. You know, you might have a physics position posted and you might have 2 applicants, and there may not be any minorities that have applied for that position. So it's what we have to choose from. Also, where do we go to recruit? How do we get our information out to other universities? Besides going to those universities, we do email all of our information to our universities in the Valley, Prairie View. Texas State has a great, I wish that most universities had that, but they have a great job cast. I think it's Jobs for Cats on Texas State, and like our local job fair. I talked to the person representative at Texas State. We posted it there, and we had a pretty good turnout with Texas State students. Obviously, it's logistics as well. Tally Neal traveled to Prairie View. They had a much better turnout in Prairie View in the Houston area. It's just a matter of getting folks to move to this area, and also looking at the salaries in the Houston area. It's hard for us to compare to those large districts, but we get our name out there. Tally does a good job there. We sent Jonathan Flores to the Valley. Jay Law does Corpus Christi. We have special education reps that hit some of our local areas, and then I travel to the big ones as well. So we have a good little group that helps out. So just quickly, I'm going to show you an at a glance. So if you turn to page 26, I just picked Rodriguez Elementary, and that way you can see what the break looks down from principal all the way down to lunch monitor. Every position, what gender, what ethnicity, and how many people in those positions. And toward the bottom, you can see, so if you just look at your very first column, you can see, did you increase or decrease with our minority hires? And so, for instance, Rodriguez on African American hires, they stayed at 2% every year. So they didn't decrease, but they also didn't increase. Now, some of our campuses are very small, such as MBLC or Burgess or even McQueenie. So if you lose one, it could be a substantial difference on your percentage. So sometimes that could be misleading just based on the size of the district or the campus. If you look at page 30, I'm going to go to our summary sheet. Now, any questions so far? The breakdown's pretty simple by campus and department. 30 is what we really study. The top part is numbers. I like focusing on the percentages, so that's the bottom. So if you look at that bottom box on page 30, and let's just go to Briesemeister, you can see 2014, 2015, 2016. The AA is African American, the H is Hispanic. So if you look at 2014, we had 5% at Breezy, and if you go all the way up to 2016, we increased to 9%. So there was a 4% increase of African American hires at Breezy, and then a 4% decrease on our Hispanic hires. So you can just go down the line to see whether there's no change, an increase, or a decrease. And this information, every principal this past week got their snapshot of their campus, and they reviewed policy, and we reviewed our hiring practice. So at least it's a visual for them. What we've talked about too, though, when they are hiring, and just as Dr. Guerrero presented with the accountability, it's a lot of pressure on those principals to perform and to get to those kids to move to the right. It's a lot of pressure. So what we will not compromise is the best candidate. That's the first thing we look for. We try to look for experience with information we can track that they do have positive experience coming in. Sometimes we'll get a first-year teacher that is dynamite. So it's what passion do they have, their energy level, their commitment to their classroom, but also the knowledge base and willing to train in their craft. So those are the big components that principals look for, keeping this on the forefront as they go through that process. So it's a lot of information. At any time, if you have questions, you can always reach out to me individually. But at this time, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Yeah, Dot, you beat me to the punch. Yeah, I just wanted to indicate and inform the new board members that this does go to a diversity council, and since, please send out the reminders
Yes.
to all, and we invite any other board members. Of course, we can have more than a quorum in there, so it's a very, it's involved, it encompasses some staff members from specific campuses in the community, of course. So, and then Mr. Patterson is our chairman for that, and there's a lot of good dialogue that goes on. So I invite other board members to go.
We'll send
So
that
God,
notice
please.
out. And normally we present this
In the
like
past,
February.
yeah.
It's usually earlier. We had a lot of things happening in the board meetings, but also since we had so many new members, this would be the first time you guys put your eyes on it, so we wanted to make sure you guys saw it before we sent it to the Diversity Council.
Okay.
Normally, we have to wait for that process, but now that you know what it is, it's just information that we share, that in the future it'll be held earlier in the spring,
Okay.
pending it's not too terribly busy, but we will be meeting in the month of May.
Very good. Thank you.
So the Diversity Council, will that meeting be sometime in the next month?
Yes,
Okay,
in
you'll
the
send
month
us
of
a
May, we'll
notice.
put out a reminder or a notice,
Okay.
and then we'll email the individuals that are currently on the committee, and then we'll provide you a copy of that email, so in case you want to come.
All right. And as she mentioned, we will be putting the summary report up on the web tomorrow morning, as well as Dr. Gordo's presentation tomorrow morning for those of you in the audience. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 3, audience with the board, and we do not have anybody who wants to visit with the board this evening, so we will move on to item 4, the consent agenda. So we're going to consider and possibly approve BE local states that the consent agenda shall include items of a routine and/or recurring nature grouping together under one action item. All such items shall be acted upon by one vote without separate discussion unless a board member requests that an item be withdrawn for individual consideration. The remaining items shall be adopted under single motion and vote. Any comments on the consent items? Yes.
I do have one comment in regards to the agenda item E. This was a letter to the commissioner. This was passed out, just for the record and notes, please, that this was passed out last month, and it was an item, it was a letter that Mr. Amador suggested that we send, but it required a board member's signature. And for the record, we had to bring it back to approve that as a board. So just want to make sure that's known for the record as far as resource personnel.
That request was made in, I believe, January.
Yeah, so that is correct. So it has now come forward for approval. So good.
Madam President, I so moved to approve all consent agenda items.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, moving on to item 5, the action item. We have one. It is a personnel action, professional employees, and acknowledgement of resignations. Again, Ms. Whitman.
She doesn't need to come up. We just go ahead and approve,
Are there
accept the
questions?
recommendation of the hire and accept the recommendation or acknowledgement of resignations.
Are there any questions?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. No questions? All right, thank you. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you, John. All right, moving on to number 6, closed session. The board will adjourn into closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meetings Act. Sections 551.071, 551.074, 551.121, consultation with legal counsel as necessary to address legal concerns, implications, and answer any legal questions. Also, Texas Government Code Section 551.074 to discuss personnel matters, including appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of an employee. Number 1, discussion regarding recommendations for teacher term contracts, probationary contracts, employment agreements for teachers and other non-administrative staff, and termination of probationary contracts. Letter C, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074 to hear a Level 3 employee grievance. And D, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 and 551.074, consultation with legal counsel and deliberation regarding the Level 3 employee grievance. So we will break for closed session. It is we're going to break. It is 6:26. 7:26. I'm sorry. Thank you. And I think that we should all take a quick break. We will be going into the Juan Seguin room. All right. All right. This meeting will now reconvene in open session at 9:14 p.m. We will reconvene 7A1, possible action regarding recommendation for teacher term contracts, probationary contracts, employment agreements for teachers and other non-administrative staff, and termination of probationary contracts. Do I hear a motion?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees recommend the approval of the contracts as presented to include probationary contract, term contract renewal, employment agreements for teachers and other non-administrative staff contracts, including a return to probationary contract and a fourth-year probationary contract as presented per Texas Education Code 21.102C and policy DCA legal.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Yes, I'm sorry.
I have one abstention. I need to abstain from voting on Christy Holt's contract renewal per the spousal relationship.
All right, I understand. All right. Please note the abstention. 7B, possible action regarding Level 3 employee grievance. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we affirm the decision of the Level 2 findings.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right. Before we close, we want to go on to discuss issues or concerns for future agenda items or the creation of administrative reports. Do any of the board members have any requests? We're good? All right. Then this meeting will adjourn at 9:16 p.m. Thank you.